Hi everyone, Stan here from Wealth Success Reviews, and as you can see the smiling face there of Alan Tutt, my dear friend, and a man that I consider also my mentor. Uh, as you know, I've been following Alan's work for quite some time now, and he recently released a new book called Harmonic Prayer. And prayer is not something that I've talked about much on the website over the past 3 years that we've been live. But the fact is that I practice prayer on a daily basis, and I truly believe in the miraculous. And I'm really impressed with Alan's new book. Alan, hi. Uh, what is harmonic prayer?
The easiest way that I can describe it is that it's a five-step process that guarantees that you get the positive results that you want from prayer. That really is the simplest definition that I can give it. There are many different types of prayer. There's many different forms of prayer. Harmonic prayer doesn't really define a form of the prayer. I mean, you're still free to do a lot of different things that would normally be considered prayer. It just simply gives you a framework in which to work. That's pretty much what harmonic prayer is. It's a framework in which to do your prayers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I believe that many people think of prayer as reciting, what the organized religions have done and doing so mindlessly and not really getting any effect out of prayer. I truly believe in the miraculous and I believe in the power of prayer. Uh, what is this process you developed? How is it different than other types of prayer?
Well, I would say that the main difference is that, um, first of all, when you do it, you come away from it knowing that you're actually going to get some results from it. There are a lot of different types of prayer that people do, and they walk away from what they've just done wondering, is that going to work? Did I do it right? Uh, did I just waste my time? um, I mean, again, I mentioned there's a lot of different forms of prayer, and I guess we probably should at least mention some of those. I mean, a lot of what we have talked about over the course of time is things like affirmations or visualization, um, and those are forms of prayer. Basically, my definition of prayer is anything that we do on a conscious level that is intended to get a spiritual response or intended to produce a result through a spiritual mechanism or spiritual means. So affirmations and visualizations count as prayer just as much as kneeling by the bedside and reciting the standard words like you mentioned, or praying with the rosaries, or any of that kind of standardized form of prayer that a lot of people are used to. Um, I mean, basically anything that we do intended to touch into the spiritual level to get a positive result on the physical world around us can be considered prayer. So really there are a lot of different types of prayer that can be included with that. What is really different about what I call the harmonic prayer is that, well, first of all, you're free to do it any which way you want to. I mean, if you have specific words or specific phrases that you like to use in prayer, you can still do that. You can still do that. If you like to have candles burning or incense burning and sit in a specific posture and chant a specific type of mantra or something like that, which is also another form of prayer, you're also free to do that as well. Basically, harmonic prayer, it's a five-step process, and let me just cover the 5 steps real briefly here. The first step I call harmonize with God. And I know I use the word God sometimes, and some people are okay with the word. Some people have a lot of negative connotations with the word that come along from previous religious training, and they try to avoid it. It's okay if you want to avoid the word God. It's not required. Basically, for me, it just refers to the divine essence of the universe. And someone who comes at this from a completely scientific viewpoint might call this the zero-point field, something from quantum mechanics that a lot of people are familiar with. So you don't have to really approach this as I am talking to one specific spiritual entity. It's really just a matter of getting in touch with the essence, the spiritual essence of the universe. So the first step, and I know I'm taking a lot of time to describe it, but it goes a whole lot faster than that. Bring yourself into harmony with the divine essence of the universe. For me, that takes maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Really, it's just a matter of turning my mind to the idea of love, relaxing, opening myself up, and just letting that spiritual essence come in. And that's really as complicated as it needs to be. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is activate your faith. And faith is one of the things that a lot of us have been taught is the substance and the power behind prayer. Prayer works according to your faith. And that is absolutely true. Faith is the power behind prayer. And so the thing that we do when we activate our faith, again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. What I'm going to share right now, the easiest way to do it is just to think about something you know to be a true fact. Right now, I'm sitting at my desk. I'm sitting in my office. There's the desk right in front of me. This is a solid object. This is actually real and true. It does exist. And just by thinking about that, that brings up a feeling of confidence, a feeling of faith within my mind, within my body, that I can carry with me into the rest of the prayer process. So step 2, activate your faith. Step 3, focus on what you want to get from your prayers. What are you actually praying for? And you want to be clear in your focus because you want to basically form a clear message that's going to go out into the universe, that's going to go to God, if you want to think of it that way. And this message is going to be the essence of what you're going to get. So you want to define, what do you want to get back? And so step number 3, focus on what you want. If you're looking to start a new relationship, focus on the type of relationship you want. If you want to get a new job, focus on the type of job that you want. If you want to increase your financial abundance, focus on what that means to you. And then that's step number 3, focus on what you want. So we've aligned ourselves with the divine essence of the universe. We've activated our faith. We focused on what we want. Step number 4 is to give thanks, to express gratitude. And that serves 2 different purposes. First of all, it's a nice way to end the prayer. It gives you a nice little transition from praying to not praying. So there's that transition, a nice way to close it out. But it also reinforces that harmonic resonance with the divine essence of the universe. And so it reopens the channel that is going to carry your prayer out into the world. So that's step number 4. Step number 5 is just simply pay attention to any divine guidance that may come your way. You may get new thoughts. You may get an idea to do something different than you haven't done before. You might hear people talking about something that relates to what you were praying about, and that may give you information that leads you to what you wanted to get. So again, the final step is really just pay attention, because the divine guidance is going to be there, and it's going to help guide you to find the manifestation of your prayer. So that's the 5-step process.
Yeah, all too often, 2 points of weakness that I see in most people's prayer is, first of all, they don't really know what they're asking for. They're asking for improvements in their life, but you have to have a sincere desire for something very specific. You have to know what you want. And the second thing, and that's your last point, is we just don't listen. We've got to pay attention to our intuition and listen for this, as you say, divine guidance. It's there if we're sensitive to it. Even in everyday life without prayer, we have all kinds of opportunities that everyone sees every day, but they don't see them. They're there, and they just don't, are not aware that all these wonderful things are available to them. And, that's without prayer. And with prayer, it's just a matter of being intuitive and listening for the answer. And people don't do that. What has harmonic prayer done in your life, Alan?
Let's see, how much time did we have?
Well, unfortunately, only about 15 minutes, but
Okay, yeah, I could probably go on for hours and hours talking about
uh,
what it's
I'm
done
sure
for
you
me.
can. I,
Um, well, I I've included some of the stories in the book itself, and as well as the Choose to Believe book that I did previously to that. There's a lot of different things that I have already talked about to my audience through my emails and things as far as what it has done for me. One of the stories that has really gotten the biggest impact from a lot of people is the time that I spent working at the die cutting shop in Kansas City. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one just simply because I know a lot of people have already heard that story. But basically, what happened there was on a week by week basis. I was hired as temporary labor. I was a day laborer who was hired really just to sweep the floors, keep the presses loaded. I had absolutely no influence at that job at all. And yet, every week I would decide how many hours that I wanted for that week. Some weeks it might be 40 hours because I didn't want to do a lot. Some weeks I might have said 45 hours. Some weeks I might have said 48. Some weeks 43. Might have been 46 and a half. I mean, I set different numbers each week for what I wanted. And at that point, the prayer process was much simpler than what it is now. It was really just, hey, this is what I want. I have faith I'm going to get it. And that was really the only process I used at that time. But what was really interesting is at the end of each week, I would look at my timesheet and I would compare it to what I had intended to get for that week. And it was always within a half an hour. And so the power of prayer literally changed the work process within that business so that I got the number of hours I wanted that week, even though I was basically a nobody in that business. And that's just one example of what prayer's done for me. Obviously, I've talked a lot about how the power of prayer helped uh, bring about the relationship that I now have with Linda. We've been together for 14 and a half years, and that started with a series of prayers that at that time I didn't really call it prayer. I called it creative daydreaming, but basically it was a prayer process. Um, and I set in my mind, okay, these are the details that I want in this relationship. I want someone who's spiritually minded. I want somebody who believes the same way I believe. I want someone who enjoys music. I want someone that I can go to theater with. And within what was it, a couple months, I met Linda. As soon as I saw her, it's like I knew she was the one. It was just a matter of taking the time so until she believed that. But she's a musician. She's a musician. She was involved with community theater, so and the theater thing was something that was really interesting because I'd never experienced theater before that point. And so that was a brand new thing in my life, and it was one of those specific details that came out because I had included it in the prayers that eventually created that relationship. And I mean, even now, even in current times, I mean, I know I talk about these stories that went back 14 years ago or even further, but even now, I mean, the trip that I took to Hawaii in February, there were a number of prayers that I offered for that to make sure that it was an enjoyable experience and that everything would work well and that I would get something out of it as well as the people who attended the workshops there. And I mean, I could go on for again another hour or two just talking about all the synchronicities that happened during that trip that made it so much better than anything we could have planned on a conscious level. It was just so incredible.
uh, it just, I'm totally impressed with the power of prayer, and I'm really impressed with your system. In all honesty, I went through some serious praying 38 years ago, 39 years ago, and resulted in my marriage, which is now almost 39 years. And it seriously was the power of prayer that brought that about. Uh, Real quickly, I left Vietnam having unable to return and lost complete contact with my intended. Her home was destroyed during Tet Offensive, in the 1960s. And through praying, a friend of mine ultimately was able to find her, even though her address was totally wiped out, but he finally was able to find her for me and put us together after several years separation. And we've been married for 38 years, and it was a prayer answered. Uh, is your harmonic prayer going to work for anyone?
I would say
Given
it.
that they have faith. Given that they have faith. Yeah.
Yeah, that really is the only real requirement, is that you have some degree of faith that there is a divine essence to the universe, and that this divine essence will answer prayers. But even if that kind of belief, even if that faith is weak, I have included 2 chapters in this book that will help you build up those beliefs so that you can start with just enough faith, like they said, the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, just enough to give it a try. If you believe in it enough to give it a try, that, okay, there might be something worthwhile here. You can use these other 2 chapters. Let's see, I've got them in, I think it's chapters 5 and 6. Yeah, chapters 5 and 6 are the ones that pull in material from the old Choose to Believe system that I also included in the 28 Days to Effortless Success course. Those 2 chapters help you to take a belief that, even if it starts out almost 0%, like, I really don't believe this is possible, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean, that's probably at least a 1 or 2%. It's a little bit better than 0. I'm willing to give it a shot. Even if you start out with such a low level of faith and you work with these processes, I mean, I've got the pacing and leading affirmations ideas in there. I've got the submodality modifications. I've got all this NLP stuff that really turns on the power of your mind and uses that power to shift your belief system so that you can enter into this prayer process with full faith that it will work for you. So even if you just give it enough of a belief to give it a try, there's enough material in the book, and this is not a big book, as you can see. It's a really thin book. It's less than 100 pages. I mean, last page, page 98. So it's a quick read. It's very easy read. I didn't make it too complicated, so it's really easy to get into. It's really easy to get the material out of it. If you're willing to give it a shot, there's the material in there that will help you build up the belief so that you can say, yes, I do believe that there is a divine essence of the universe, whatever you choose to call it. You don't have to call it God. You can call it Fred if you want to. I mean, it doesn't matter what you call this divine essence. But as long as you give it a chance, you can use the material to build up that belief. And then you go into that prayer process, and again, part of it is just activating the faith of, this is a real desk that's sitting right in front of me. Yes, I do believe in this desk. And that carries that faith over into the rest of the prayer process and helps to power the prayer that you offer at that point. So I think it can work for anyone. You don't need to be a Christian, even though I use a lot of Christian references in the book. I quote the Christian Bible a few times when it supports the points that I want to make. I'm sure the points could also be supported by other religions as well. I think it was you that told me that Buddhism supports the concept of prayer as I teach it. Other people have told me that other religions also support the concepts that I teach in this book. So no matter what religion you belong to, you can use this process, even if you don't belong to a religion at all. Again, if you're a complete atheist and believe that there is no such thing as a God or no such thing as a divine essence and everything in the universe is mechanical, that's probably the only type of person that would have difficulty with this.
Yeah, it's hard to conceive of somebody not believing that there is something beyond, the 9 to 5 and the everyday existence that we have. I mean, all this cannot be accident. There has to be something underlying all this. Perhaps we're not all. I certainly do not follow most organized religions. I feel that they do more damage than good in many cases. But you have to believe in an essence. You have to believe in something underneath. You have some special offers through the end or to the end of this month. So
Yeah.
perhaps you could let us know about those.
Well, I released the book this month, and I do have a birthday coming up at the end of May. May 31st is my birthday. So I figured, why not just celebrate the rest of the month and put the package on special. I mean, I've got the book itself. I've got a physical copy in my hand here, but they're not yet available as a physical copy. They're available as a PDF download right now. Maybe in a month or two I'll actually have physical copies available. I'm still doing some editing on it to really fine-tune some of the way things are phrased and that type of thing. The book is less than $10. I priced it $9.99, so it's really easy for anybody to afford to get the book and start using the material in their own lives. I also created a set of audio recordings to go along with the book. There are a number of different meditations that I describe in the book that help you really increase that faith, really increase that divine, the harmonic resonance with the divine essence. There are three different meditations for that: to resonate with the divine essence on the aspect of love, to resonate with the divine essence on the aspect of power, and also on the aspect of wisdom. So those are the three aspects that really bring you into tight harmonic resonance with God, with the divine essence of the universe, love, power, and wisdom. I've got 3 different meditations for that. I've got 2 different meditations to really help increase your ability to focus your mind and be clear about what you want, and to be very disciplined about thinking only of the thing that you want, not of the thing you don't want, or the possible negative outcomes that could also happen, because that's one of the problems with prayers. If you've got 5 different things in your mind while you're praying, that power goes out to create all 5 of those different things, and you really don't want all of them most of the time. So there's a couple meditations to help you focus your mind and really clear that out. There's a lot of other things that I talk about. Brainwave entrainment, we've talked about that a little bit
Oh, yes.
in previous videos and things. I've got a set of audio recordings that would literally fill 8 CDs that I've included in what I call the essential package, the essential support package for the harmonic prayer system, is what I guess you can call it a system. I've got 8 CDs
I
to
would
go along
think.
with the book. Yeah. That eventually I'm planning to sell it for $49, but until the end of the month you can get all 8 CDs plus the book for $29. They're all going to be downloads. The book is PDF. The recordings are MP3s. The MP3s have all the ID3 tags and everything, so that when you load them into your iPod or MP3 player, they come up as albums, and you can search by them however you want to do it. It's all there. There's also a deluxe package that adds in the equivalent of 20 more CDs. So instead of 8 CDs, you get 28 CDs worth of material. That one is priced at just $30 more until the end of May. That one's $59 now. After the end of May, that's going to be a $97 package.
All right. Well, everybody should move fast because it's one hell of a deal. Or, well, I don't know that that's the right term or not. Alan, it's been a pleasure. I really wish you well in this endeavor, because I have found the work to be extremely powerful. And to my followers who are viewing this, you know that I love Alan's work. I've promoted every piece of work that he's done over the past 3 years, and much of the work that he's done prior to my, finding his site back. Oh, I guess it was about 2 years ago I first found your site. But we've been good friends, and I really appreciate the power and the forethought that Alan puts into his work, and every piece it's all been 5-star quality. Alan, thank you for being with me today, and to my readers, have a beautiful day, and get out there. It's a beautiful day. Go enjoy it. Bye for now.